My question is around the solar plexus.
Good.
You've spoken about it before. And this year, I came to the awareness that that part of my body seemed numb to me, and that it seemed to have been numb since I was very young and lost a parent and kind of got shocked. And as I needed to trust my gut feelings in some new adventures I'm playing in and realized I don't have a relationship to this powerful point of my body, I began to ask about that. And a friend of mine had heard a definition of it as the crossroads of lights. And then I read a definition which said an interconnected network of nerves between the heart and belly that send impulses to the belly. I would love it if you could create a clearer sense of what really happens at this point in our physical apparatus and how to be more fully in partnership with it.
Well, in the same way that your nose is the part of you that is able to vibrationally interpret vibration in order to experience fragrance or smell. Mm-hmm. And your ear is the part of your body that interprets vibration that brings you sound. Your solar plexus is the part of your body that interprets the vibration that gives you fuller, deeper definition of vibration. We didn't talk about this emotional meter. We'll do it briefly here. That we're going to stop in 4 places on the meter. Passion means I've got a strong, focused desire that I am fully allowing. In other words, I have no belief that contradicts it. Strong anger means I've got a strong desire that's pulling energy through me that I am vibrationally opposed to in this moment, and so there's a contradiction of energy happening. Peacefulness or contentment means not much desire focused right now, but no resistance either. Lighter irritation or aggravation means I've got a little desire focused now, and I've got some beliefs that are equivalent, that are opposite to it. And so that vibrational meter lets you know your relationship with your source energy. When someone says, I'm really not feeling, or I don't know that I'm feeling, that's not an uncommon thing. And just as you have pointed out, when something happens that hurts a great deal, you find ways of not allowing yourself to feel it sometimes. But something even more common is your solar plexus, or your emotional energy translator barometer, is working just fine. It's just that you have become so accustomed to what it feels like when you're not letting it in that you don't even know you're not letting it in. And what we mean by that is it's normal to feel overwhelmed in your environment today, or it's normal to feel defensive, or it's normal to feel a bit of vulnerability. And so because so many of you have allowed yourself to feel it for a while, even though your guidance system is working very well, it's sort of like acclimating to the hot stove. You've built up some calluses, and even though some tender fingers would say, that's much too hot, have you ever watched someone handling hot plates in a restaurant, and when you pick it up, you can hardly believe that they carried it to you and stood there and talked to you with it? They've just become accustomed to it, and the same sort of thing happens with you. So how do you bring your solar plexus to a place of heightened sensitivity? One sure way is to spend some time in meditation. Because when you meditate, you stop thought, and when you stop thought, you stop resistance, and when you stop resistance, your vibration raises, and if you're awake, not asleep, you, at all levels of your being, begin to consciously assimilate what the normal state of being is for you. So that then when you dip into a vibration that's not up to speed with it, you really recognize it earlier.
That's definitely my experience, and with meditation and with basking and appreciating and all those things.
There's something else we want to say to you, specifically to you, and that is you know so much the power of feeling good, and you were born so much with your cork floating, and it felt so awful whenever it wasn't floating, that you are holding yourself, and this is not a bad thing necessarily, in almost a rigid place of not being willing to step into any place that might feel less than good. And so your experience has become a little guarded in the sense that you're just not going to put yourself out there with the probability of that greater risk. And what happens when you make those decisions is life becomes more constant. So there's not as much lift or opposite within your vibration, and so then your conclusion is, my guidance system is not really as active as I would like it to be. And we would say, well, it might be that you have just made a determination, a conscious determination some time ago, that you were going to control the outcome of your physical experience in a way that you would not ever again dip into those ranges. But by making sure that you're not dipping into those ranges, you sort of make sure that you don't dip into those ranges also. And that's why, as we visit with you, we would like to get you to all lighten up and not worry so much about dipping into those ranges. We would like you to let contrast be your friend again. I'll just regroup. I'm more alive now than I was, and now what do I want? Because dipping into negative emotion is not a detrimental thing. It's dipping in and staying there that's a negative thing. But the guidance system that is within you, that's all part of the process. How would you ever come to any conclusion of preference if you did not have variety that helped you to decide or discern?
Right.
So the thing that we are wanting to give to you, you've heard it already, but we'll make it even more blunt, is your connection to your source is not a fragile thing whatsoever. There is no risk at all. And so something gives you a gut ache, so what? All it means is you focus there longer than you meant to, and it isn't something you want. And as soon as you figure it out, just back off from it. Imagine that this is sandpaper, very fine, so it's almost like velvet at first. And you got rubbing on it because somebody called your attention to it, and then it sort of got to be a habit. And so you rub quite a long time, and even though it's a very fine sandpaper, before you know it, your hand's getting hot, and if you stay after it, your hand actually gets sore. And if you really stay after it, you would make a very sore spot on your hand. You could literally rub all the skin from your hand. And some would say, well, why would you do that? And we say, yeah, why would you do that? Well, you do it out of habit. And so then, at whatever point along the way that you begin to feel the slightest discomfort, the thing that we want you to take away and remember often is, at any point, you can make a decision to just lift up off of that. It has no control. At any point, you have the ability to just lift up off of it. And if you've rubbed your hand there for a little while and you lift up off of it, you feel relief. You feel the exhilaration of your new decision. And your new decision is actually a stronger, better decision than if this had not happened to begin with. We're just doing a little sales job here on helping you to realize that you can never get yourself in a jam. You will never hurt as you believed you once hurt. You do not have the capacity for that again. So since there is no risk, then you might as well dip in anywhere you feel, always knowing that you have the capacity to lift up off of it anytime that you want to.
Right.
Yes. Enough?